Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What Did Squid Hate? I am your host today, John, and
And I hate things.
Squid hates things, and we don't have a Celeste here with us, so there is no
So this is
Switzerland in this
no holds
conflict.
barred.
No, it's our bonus episode for the Year of the King, and this episode is going to be on Salem's Lot, Stephen King's second book. I don't remember what year he made it in. I think it was 1977. I know.
I think it was 74 because I think the movie came out in 76.
Okay, I know Carrie was his first book, which is a really odd choice, especially when you think about Stephen King. That wouldn't have been.
That's the car one, right?
No, that's Christine. Carrie was the one
Oh,
about the
that's the.
telepathic shut-in.
Oh, never mind. I was about to say that's the blood at the.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, okay. The blood at the prom.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Mhm.
Homecoming. I've never actually read it or seen it. Unsurprised.
I haven't either,
Most.
but when I was in my junior year, how do I want to say college? My high school English teacher was really had us doing biographical papers on American authors, and she was kind enough to let me do Stephen King. So I know more about him than I have read.
That's fair. I feel like, as we have learned going through this, he's a hard man to miss. There's a lot of prolific man.
And even if you're not into what he's writing, he is still very good at what he does.
And pervasive. I've never read until now most of his stuff, but I still know Carrie's the blood at the
Yeah, he does.
the dance one, and there's a car book.
There comes a point where certain authors just become ubiquitous with the culture they're a part of.
Yeah, he is good at that.
So, do we have any alleged reads,
Nope.
or are we just going right into the book?
Now don't quote me on this, and no one listening go back to check, but I don't think we've done them for the King episodes.
Okay, I don't think we have either. I think it was just right into the book, but I just wanted to double check so I'm not breaking protocol, because everybody knows how great I am at driving these buses.
I don't have a CDL Class B, so I can't drive a bus
Oh, someone's being clever now.
legally. I could illegally.
I think everybody can do something illegally. So
Get out there and try, kids. You don't know until you apply yourself.
These comments are not endorsed by Geek Devotions in any way, shape, or form for legal reasons. Yeah. Everything you hear is for entertainment purposes only.
But Celeste isn't here to tell us not to.
With that being said, let's talk about Stephen King's second book. Let me just go ahead and read the back of the book here real quick, or rather the blurb of the audiobook in my case. Ben Mears has returned to Jerusalem's Lot in the hopes that living in an old mansion along the subject of town lore will help him cast out his own devils and provide inspiration for his new book. But when two young boys venture into the woods and only one comes back alive, Mears begins to realize that there may be something sinister at work. And excuse me, and that his hometown is under a siege by forces of darkness far beyond his control. Oh, Gesundheit.
That's what I think about your blur.
If you got a better one on the back of your physical copy.
No, it's exactly the same.
Oh, hey, cool.
For the first time, I think. Any of the times I've had it.
I think your cover actually matches the thumbnail. Yep, that your cover matches the thumbnail I have for mine.
Probably because it's the mass market. So it's probably the most.
Going into this, though, I will say I found, like, typically I'm not a person who's super into forwards or acknowledgments, but I did find the forward in this book to be very interesting. It was written, for listeners out there, it was written by Stephen King, and he was talking about what inspired him to write this book and his mom's perspective on that, which was Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Basically, this book was supposed to be his version of what would happen if Dracula came to the US and started in a small town instead of going to a big city, and that was where he was running with it. But he was talking about his mom and books he would pick out as a kid, and there's good trash, there's trash, and then there's bad trash. And his mom would always let him know when she thought something was trash, but she would never prevent him from reading it. The only time that she would was when it was bad trash, and that was very limited.
And if you want to hear my perspective on some bad trash.
But the thing about it is, I really like that perspective of explaining your position, but not being a force of censorship.
Yeah.
I think that was really good of his mother to allow him to make his own decisions and experience life on his terms.
Also, I just think it's good to, especially as we've learned in this, reading is so subjective.
Mm.
And what people like is just so different across the board that what I think is trash, another person is like, wow, I really liked that and it made me want to read more. So
I
it's
feel
only bad when
say
it's,
my name, Squid. Say my name if you're gonna.
I think things are trash and John loves them.
Squid's trash is my treasure, is what she's trying to say.
Exactly. I didn't want to say it, but
Since when?
I'm turning over a new leaf today.
Today. Okay.
And so far I failed already.
All right, whatever. So yeah, this book was written in the 70s, and you can definitely feel it with how things are said and things that happen in this book.
Not in a way that was like oppressive or out of touch, though.
No, I think King, unless he's intentionally trying to be of a certain time, his stories have a tendency to be a bit timeless. And I think that's the reason why there's so many adaptations of this particular story in this cinematic form.
Someday I'll see the other two, but keep listening and you'll get to hear me rant about the newest adaptation in about 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm excited for that. I wanted to watch that, but for those of you out in listener land, we're recording this right after Father's Day weekend, and I have four I have four sets of parents that I have to appease for holidays, which means I have I have a stepfather, a father, a stepfather-in-law, and a father-in-law that I have to tend to on Father's Day. So doing anything this weekend was a bit impossible. Otherwise,
So we had
otherwise we would be having a secondary conversation about that movie, but I just could not fit it into my schedule.
even before that, we were gonna have Celeste here and then had to reschedule. And I was like, what if we watch a movie and just talk about the book at the same time? And then due to the very thing that we had to reschedule for, also John couldn't watch the movie.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's what
that's okay. Let me tell you, you're not missing anything.
that's what I heard, and that's why I'm thinking maybe this might carry over into another bottom shelf crossover episode.
For the love of God, I don't want to watch it a second time.
You can just bring it. You can just come in with your memories. That's fine. That's not going to hurt my feelings.
I'd like to remove my memories if I could. But anyway, the book.
The book.
We're talking
Yes,
about
talking
the
about the book. So
yeah.
to be perfectly honest, when I first came into this book, this wasn't my first time going into this book, but the first time I did, I had already read it and Christine and a few other books. And this really felt like Stephen King light, like diet Stephen King. It didn't have all his signature moves, I guess, in there.
Oh. What would you say are his signature moves?
No, by the time he hit the 80s, and then by the time he got to the 80s, he was doing a lot of cocaine, and I think cocaine made him a little bit what's an appropriate word, lustful
Swirly.
in how he approaches certain things, whereas
lecherous.
Yes, lecherous, that's a good one. A little bit lecherous and a little bit graphic, whereas this one, a lot of the unsavory bits in this book were done in almost fade to black like.
Yeah. Some of them. There were some parts which, at least having not read other things, none of the stuff we've really read, I feel like, have had those moments yet. Because mostly we've read Bachman and now this.
I will just say there's a reason why I didn't. My favorite book by him is Needful Things, and there's a reason why I didn't suggest it for.
Yeah. I'll say, at least reading this, those moments that were more graphic hit harder. Because some of them were also like bad people thoughts.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. Fair warning if anybody out there is thinking about reading this book based off of this podcast. There is some content that should be cautioned if you're sensitive to such things. There is child death in this book. Fortunately, it happens off camera.
There is also some pretty not off camera child abuse.
Yes.
So keep that in mind.
But I will say that those scenes are brief.
Yes, they are.
So
and, if you're young, you shouldn't be reading this anyway.
That never stopped me when I was young. So
yeah,
it's just like to put those warnings out there. So there is that. But to be perfectly honest, this book sets itself up as a Stephen King based vampire movie. It literally feels like a script to a vampire movie.
You know what's really funny? The least favorite part of this book for me was the vampires.
Really?
Yeah. I mentioned this during Never Die because I think I had just finished Salem's Lot
Mhm.
right before we recorded. And honestly, the books this year, more than anything, have really shown me what I like in books, which is to say, I haven't been getting a lot of.
Oh, no, did this one make
But
it to the did not like pile as well?
no, I actually gave it 4
Oh,
stars.
cool.
And it would have had more, except I found that I just really don't like general, like, supernatural,
Mhm.
don't like a lot of pulpy fiction or fantasy,
Mm.
like, stuff like that. So if you're gonna do those elements, the reason this still got 4 stars is because I read this book and I went, "I feel like I could ask King about any name he's mentioned in this book, and he would be like, 'Here's what they ate for breakfast.'"
Yeah.
Because they all feel real,
That
every single one of them.
my to be perfectly honest, Stephen King is in his bag when he's writing about a small town.
Yep.
When he writes about small town life, that's when you're gonna get the best King. Needful Things is all about Castle Rock, Maine, and that book, I love that book. I would be my favorite story by him if it wasn't for an entire chapter of things that weren't necessary. And
Also, I feel like
that's all about the people of Derry, Maine. Like when he's writing about the personality of a small town and all the people in it, that's when he's really hitting on all cylinders. And that's when it's my favorite.
and it's not to harp on your book because stay tuned for next month where I harp on Celeste's. But since Never Die has already come out, I feel like it's a good
It's fine.
juxtaposition of in Never Die, you really have 6 characters, right?
Yeah.
Like there are like people they talk to, but they're not
Important.
characters. Right. So even in this where it's like you have almost 6 main characters in this book that are pretty in the spotlight, especially if you count the vampire and his guy.
Yeah.
But then also you have 25 other people in this town, and every single one of them, even though it's, oh, he's writing a small town, which should be
Hmm.
small and minimal as opposed to this sweeping adventure, he makes a small town feel like a sweeping adventure because you're like, every one of these people has lives and I want to know everything about them.
And he'll
And
tell you everything about them.
yes, he will. And he does it in such a good way.
And
That's what I like about him.
and that's what I'm saying about his other books with Needful Things and It and the other ones that he has in set in small towns is like he does that with all of them. Like how
Yeah.
many people live in your head, bro?
He's so good. And I love that about books. Obviously, one of my favorite things is if you write your characters well, even if they're bad people, I'm in.
Yeah.
But if you're only paying attention to what the characters are doing and nothing else, I'm out. 'Cause I want to know more than just what they're doing. I want to know why.
And I think that's kind of Stephen King's thing is he's a
Yeah.
character like some people are into world building and some people are into plot building. He's into character building. Like the majority of and you'll find this is that majority of his plots that he has aren't like super fleshed out, but they're completely driven by the characters.
Right.
And that's my biggest gripe about Stephen King books is because his plots aren't super fleshed out. By the time you get to the end of the book, he paints himself into a corner and then he has to do a little bit deus ex machina to and that
I could see how that would happen based on how he writes,
mhm.
which in my opinion is I wish he would just start writing slice of life and just leave out the other stuff. Like,
But
because the rest of this was great.
yeah, and it's especially so in again my favorite book by him, Needful Things. Real paint yourself into a corner and
Yeah. I'm
but
looking forward to seeing how it pans out in other books too.
yeah.
Because so far, The Long Walk has been phenomenal. Big fan. Loved that.
Well, to be fair, the end of The Long Walk had a non-ending. There wasn't
Yeah, which
really
I'm okay with it.
there
Yeah.
wasn't really much like definitive conclusion to it. It was just we're just going to stop telling the story at this point.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm okay with books that are like the story's done, so everyone go home now.
Right.
But we did have some issues with The Long Walk too, especially being like we wanted more of the world building in that.
Oh, did you see that they're making a movie?
Yes, I did. And I'm ready for it.
Same.
But at least, like you said, some people world build, some people plot drive,
Mhm.
some people do character studies. But I feel like because he does real world set stuff, he doesn't have to worry about world building as much
Mhm.
because his characters are the world. So I'm interested to see how what is it? Is it Gunslinger that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, it's
not like real world stuff?
yeah, that's the first one of the Dark Tower series.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that is when he actually has to also introduce us to more than just people. and Maine.
Having had actually read that book, I have opinions, but I'm going to save them for the
Hey,
episode.
that's fair. I feel like there was something else I thought of when you said that. No, I don't remember what it was.
Dang, I'm sorry.
No, it was like 10 thoughts ago, and I was like, I'll mention that later too.
No, you won't.
Nope. I don't know. The vampires really took it away from me. I also didn't go into this knowing it was a vampire book.
Oh, you didn't?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
That's on me. I fell into the whole everybody's familiar with the old 1970 whatever movies.
Which was great for me because I also like going, especially if you're going into a book like this, I prefer not to know.
Oh, okay. There you go.
He revealed it in a way that I was like, this is a vampire book. Wait a minute. It was about the time that Matt and Ben were also like, I think this is a vampire town. Wait a minute. On a second.
Yeah, for those of you out there, spoiler alert, this is a vampire book.
Hey, this book has got vampires in it.
And
I even read the introduction that mentioned Dracula, so I don't know where my head was.
So if you don't know what the book's about, you can't really, if you only got 2+ blank, you can't really put together.
It's true.
So the characters, though, in this book, I mean, you have Ben, Matt, the doctor, I can't remember his name. That's right. And Mark and the girl's name. Susan, yeah.
And Father Callahan.
What about his ending, man? Shoot.
Father Callahan was my favorite character in this book, and it's also my spiritual takeaway.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember if we did spiritual takeaways for this, but
that's fine. You can have, I'm not going to tell you not to, but yeah, Father Callahan, man, I could definitely see some spiritual takeaways coming off of him, especially with how his character arc ended.
Yeah, King is so good at writing flawed characters. Just unapologetically, just being like, they got problems. Guess what? Who doesn't?
Yeah, and if anybody can appreciate an imperfect character, me, man, that's my favorite thing. That, like, friend of the podcast out there, Bam, or as everybody else knows him as, Branson, he's really into like paragonal characters like Superman and people that inspire hope and whatever. And that's cool if you're into that sort of thing. That's not really going to be what you're going to find in Stephen King books. Stephen King likes to find character flaws and really play around with the flaws more so than what makes a person a hero. He's more into, can this person still be a hero with this character flaw?
Which I find far more believable.
Yeah.
Because you're also not going to find a lot of paragons in real life.
For sure.
It's in a blue moon, maybe.
So yeah, Father Callahan. Let's break down some characters here so everybody can get a feel. Father Callahan, he is a Catholic priest who is having a crisis of faith.
And a solution to it for him is at the bottom of a bottle.
He hasn't found the bottle that it's at the bottom of yet, but he's still looking.
By golly, he's looking.
Gosh, and he almost has... Okay, spoiler alert from this point forward, because I need to talk about Father Callahan.
Yes.
Because he almost has that aha moment where his faith becomes like steadfast. Like when he's confronting Staker's the vampire, right? And Barlow was his manservant.
Barlow is vampire.
Okay. So
Stricker is the...
Yeah, okay. So Barlow, like when he's confronting Barlow in Mark's house, after Barlow's killed both Mark's parents, and he's got that crucifix and it's glowing and he has his faith and all that. And then suddenly I love how King had the boldness to state that that effective faith goes beyond just the trust in religious iconography, basically.
Yeah.
Because it was at the moment that Father Callahan put all his faith in holding the cross up to the vampire instead of the faith that the cross symbolizes, is when his faith failed him.
Yeah, it was...
Boy, that was a poignant scene.
Just looking at it again, it was so good. I'm trying to find the line that Barlow says.
Yeah, I was just about to say, because Barlow's got a solid line that just completely encapsulates that whole moment. And he's one that I really wish they would have had more of a afterword for.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so the cross begins to stop glowing because it only glows in his hand, I'm pretty sure. Not the case in the movie.
If I've learned anything from
Much different in the movie.
if I've learned anything from cinematic adaptations of Stephen King books, it's that the movies don't hold a candle to the actual source material.
So Barlow takes the cross out of his hand and throws it. And Callahan starts to lose his mind. And Barlow says it's too late for such melodrama. There is no need of it. You've forgotten the doctrine of your own church, is it not so? The cross, the bread and the wine, the confessional, only symbols. Without faith, the cross is only wood, the bread baked wheat, the wine sour grapes. If you had cast the cross away, you should have beaten me another night. In a way, I hoped it might have been so. It's been so long since I've met an opponent of any real worth. And then he said, the boy makes 10 of you, false priest. Bum, bum, bum. But I love that line where he's, if you had cast the cross away, we probably still would have been fighting because you know you don't need it. That's just a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite part is when they go to Callahan to get him to come with them.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, like, I don't think you guys fully understand what you're asking of me and what you're getting if you ask me to come with. Because if you had asked any other young priest, they would have been like, yeah, you're crazy, but all right, have some holy water, whatever. I can't do that because I actually believe in these things and I understand, despite the fact that I may have a crisis of faith and I may be doubting things, that the church is not just a building. And this water is not just water for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is something more. So if I come with you, I'm coming as a representative of Christ.
Yeah.
And I am bringing the full force of the church behind me because the church is a force. And you have to understand what that means. I'm not just a man with some water.
Yeah.
It's like, for a man that I'm sure probably isn't a believer, he writes pretty powerfully about churches.
Yeah. He definitely has some thoughts on religion, you can tell if you read more of his books. He is a person, I believe, that understands the complexity of humanity in contrast to faith.
Yeah.
In fact, I keep going back to Needful Things just because it's such a great book, but in that particular story, he's got conflict between the Catholics and I want to say it was the Baptists, but might have been a non-denominational church of some sort that are both in this town. And he really goes into great detail to respect the churches that are represented, but in the same sense, explain what's driving their animosity for each other all the same. And I think that's a certain level of thoughtfulness he doesn't that a lot of modern authors don't put into their work, like trying to explain certain touchy topics in such a way that it doesn't necessarily take a very focused side on either point, but instead lets the reader have their own thoughts.
And most of the time, I feel like now it's just, and this person is a stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
and this person is filling the need of my book of religious fanatic.
Yeah, or like the guy in 13 that you were like, he's just the psycho Christian guy, and I still maintain he
in
never
14
whatever.
in your own favorite book.
I didn't. Hey, whoa! I did not say it's my favorite book. I said it's a book I enjoyed.
Uh-huh. Anyway,
Yes,
like in 14, where it's just, I need a stand-in for a crazy. Here's what I'm gonna do.
this is another one of his books, though, that I will say that I wish I had an accompanying book that told the same story from a different perspective.
Whose perspective would you want?
I had to get the sheriff's perspective.
Oh, I feel like that'd be a sad book. I feel like that'd be a jaded story.
But not just his, but like from him and then Nolly, I think that was his name, the junior sheriff or the deputy, or
Oh yeah, Parsons and stuff.
get the perspective of some of the other people who it was alluded to that they survived.
Just read it all from the perspective of the library lady who knows everything. Just a gossip column.
That would actually work because if he was to try to redo this book in almost an epistolary format, like Dracula, except have it be done through editorials in the local newspaper. And
he had some of those like newspaper clippings and letters in there, so he would just have to fully commit to the new form. Just leave it all out there. Anyway, read this book. It was pretty good. You'll like it more if you like vampires.
Yeah, but if you don't like vampires, you still might like it.
I did. You know what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't go watch the 2024 Salem's Lot adaptation on HBO
All
Max.
right, all right, all right. So tell me about this movie because I was initially supposed to watch that with Ben for the Strangers and Aliens Halloween episode that never happened last year because
Oh
we just couldn't get our
boy, there's
scheduling
still
down.
time. Get it in there for next. You too could enjoy this movie. Oh, that's suffer through. You've met me.
Mhm.
You've done bottom shelf episodes with me.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty high tolerance for bad movies.
Yeah, we all know that you rather do enjoy the second Hostel movie.
I do, and Velocipaster, which I've seen more than twice. I got a high tolerance for movies that aren't good. I almost turned this movie off.
Oh no.
It was I had hope because the opening credits were actually really well done. It's been a long time since I turned on a movie and I got to see like actors' names
Mm-hmm.
in a very interesting title sequence. And I was like, I like what we're doing here. All right, let's go. And then everything that happened after that, oof, duh.
I will say, dear listeners, that just out of nowhere, I got a message on our private Discord last night from Squid saying this might be the first movie. Movie might have been written by AI.
I legitimately would not be surprised. And me and Mr. Squid watched it together. So the word we kept coming back to when trying to describe this movie was just soulless. Like it was so wooden. It was like someone skimmed Salem's Lot and then made up the last quarter.
I've heard that none of the adaptations got the end right.
Like I could be wrong. Please remind me if I am, but do they spend significant amount of time at a drive-in movie in this?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't remember.
Okay. The entire last quarter of the movie's at a drive-in where all of the townspeople are.
That doesn't even make sense because the movie the big emphasis was on the movie theater in the town.
Nope, drive-in. And they're all just in the trunks of the cars.
That's stupid.
Yeah, but like everything, it was oddly paced. It doesn't introduce anyone really. It just jumps into them just suddenly being there. Like we're supposed to know who they all are.
Mm,
Like it really felt like they fed this book into an AI and went right as a script. Thanks.
it's gross.
The child actors weren't great.
Child actors seldom are great. The problem is they don't have enough. They haven't lived long
they
enough to
weren't
have.
working with a good script.
Well, not only that, but most child actors haven't lived long enough to have enough perspective to understand the character they're trying to play.
Yeah, they. Oh boy.
Um,
Oh boy.
outside
It
of that,
was bad. I'm pretty sure some of the visuals were AI
though, oh, that wouldn't shock.
because there were like two opening shots where it was like in Ben's car as he's driving into town, and I was like, that box just doesn't look right
Well,
with the way it's positioned. I was like, that just seems like it's not.
also,
Sure.
the thing about this movie, that movie that I do know is that it was made for streaming. It was like direct to streaming
Yeah.
service.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't have a whole lot of high hopes. That's like the modern equivalent
that
for direct to video for those of you who are around me.
I've seen some good made for TV movies. This was not one of them. It was. It probably doesn't help that I read the book so recently, but I just kept being like, wait, what?
Was it set back
And
was it set back in the 70s or was it
yeah,
okay? Because
yeah.
the 2000 miniseries that they did with Rob Lowe, that one was set in modern times and that kind of turned me off to it.
Oh, interesting. And they turned Jimmy, the doctor, into a woman,
Okay.
which was I wasn't sure what they were accomplishing with that.
Did that Jimmy die the same way too?
No, which also annoyed me. Also, it again, it's like it read half the book because when Mark and Susan go to the house together, they don't. Mark just goes by himself and then runs into Matt there, and
Matt
they
wasn't
both get
there.
no, he wasn't. They get shoved into the cellar and locked in.
Susan was in
While
the
they're
cellar.
down there, they see that there's no stairs, and then Matt gets attacked there, turned into a vampire.
Matt doesn't become a vampire.
I know. Very confusing.
Okay,
And then they go back to the house later and it's careful, there's no stairs. And I was like, but that was the point.
the only reason why there was no stairs was because of the trap they set for Jimmy.
Exactly. I was so confused. I spent most of the movie being like, what did they Well, at least the first half was wooden, but at least it was the book.
Uh, I haven't
What's
even seen this
happening
movie,
now?
and you're making me mad with it now.
Yeah, and then the whole drive-in thing. Why are they all in a drive-in? What is happening? Why are they suddenly outside when the sun is up?
The what?
The sun was behind clouds. So it was fine.
No, it's not fine.
That's how the sun works.
No, it's not.
The sun can't see you if it's behind a cloud.
Okay.
As someone that's gotten sunburn in cloudy weather.
Maybe I won't do this one for the bottom shelf because that's not even going to be a fun sort of bad movie for me. That's going to be a make John angry movie is what that's going to
When you do watch it, which I do highly suggest you do, I need you to rant at me about it because I was losing my mind.
I'm sure I probably will rant about it now that that makes me mad.
Yeah. And they weren't even exciting changes. I was just like, there was no reason for this. And I even like Lewis Pullman, who is playing Ben, and I'm like, boy, they did him dirty for his first starring role. Yeah, good time. Also, I was unduly upset about the fact that Stracker was not bald because I felt like that was a pretty defining part of his character.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a tall, bald man that has a nondescript European accent.
Yeah.
And this man was short and had a lot of hair.
Okay, so when you were getting back to the book, though, like how did you picture Barlow?
Not like he's in the movies. Let me tell you that, because all the movies picture him like Nosferatu.
Yeah, I didn't picture him like that at all.
I really didn't picture him like an old creepy vampire like that. I really had there's like a perfect visual in my head, and I can't think of who this character is. But again, I don't know, because I don't know if he described Barlow ever.
Not really.
But I was picturing like long, slick, not slick like oily, but like sleek black hair, like jet black, but like long and like pushed back, like the kind of guy that'd be wearing a top hat but isn't.
Gotcha.
Probably has a cane.
Sort of like Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula, and when he was doing young Dracula with the top hat and the John Lennon glasses.
Straight, like stock straight hair.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like it's definitely an animated character I'm seeing in my head from an anime, and I can't think of who it is. But
see, I was picturing Barlow, Rutger Hauer's character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay, I could see that. I could vibe with that. You know who else? I think potentially is this the same guy from Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, yeah, because I could also see it being like the guy from Blade Runner, but that's him.
Yeah,
so
same guy.
Maybe I'm just seeing Rutger Hauer now.
Hey, if the shoe fits. But it's just the way Barlow acts in this book is so close to Rutger Hauer's character in the Buffy the Vampire movie, which was before the TV series. All you Whedonites out there,
I haven't seen either.
I recommend the movie. It was my first introduction to Christy Swanson, and it was Luke Perry's first acting job outside of Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh, also haven't seen that. Unsurprisingly, maybe.
I was about to say you're a bit young for that show,
but I have seen Blade Runner now, and do I have thoughts about that movie that make my husband upset?
Oh, do you have good thoughts or bad thoughts about that movie? No, I didn't enjoy Blade Runner
loves
either.
That movie. He's a big fan.
I wasn't. I sat and watched that movie. I'm like, what was the point of this?
That's how I felt. The whole point was Rutger Hauer, and I was like, they should have made him the main character, and they sure didn't.
Yeah.
What a shame. Instead, I had to look at Harrison Ford doing, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I didn't like Rutger Hauer in Lady Hawk either. And I said that on the bottom shelf when we did that for Branson's movie. I
don't think I've seen that either.
I don't recommend it. Branson would, but I was bored through it.
Fair.
So, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts you want to talk about with Salem's Lot, movie or otherwise?
I don't think so.
All right, cool.
I enjoyed it. It was good. Wished it didn't have vampires in it, but that kind of would have lost a lot of the book.
That kind of would have killed the point of the book.
Yeah. Again, I enjoyed what was in it. I enjoy his writing. I didn't like the book, if that makes sense.
I can dig it.
Yeah. I liked reading it. I didn't like what I was reading.
I can dig it. I have a feeling it's going to be authors like Stephen King and John Gwynne where we have our very small intersections of our Venn diagram when it comes to books.
You know what it means, John? It means people that are really good at writing their stories.
That like to dip into the fantastical. Because the thing...
Which we won't be talking about next.
Oh, jeez. little prelude. Next week, next month's episode, no, the next episode. I'll just put it like that because I don't know. I don't remember the release
In
schedule.
a nondescript amount of time.
Yeah, the next episode, it's gonna be Squid hates Celeste's book instead of John's book.
Is it?
L-
And I think Celeste is due. It's about time.
Oh, Switzerland's about to get invaded, everybody.
I'm coming for the militia.
All right. With that little teaser in tow, I want to thank everybody for listening. Go check out our other episodes or maybe other shows that are on the Geek Devotion Network. Leave a like and subscribe if you should feel so inclined, or let people know about the podcast if you dig it, or don't.
But we would like it if you did.
It'd be helpful. But until next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.